buddy's C8 ZR1 that he's done a bunch of stuff to and he makes a lot of content about. And we're gonna correct and coat it today, primarily because the first few times I washed it for him, the swirls, rotary trails, buffer trails from the factory when it was brand new were very prevalent in all the carbon pieces. So he's wanted to get it corrected. We just haven't really done it until now. However, he did get a track pack PPF done. So that is front end, pretty much all the impact areas facing forward on the car. So hood, bumpers, headlights, splitters, mirror caps, pillar. Looks like he had film up here. The rocker and the splitter have film on them too. And I didn't realize until I got here he wants the film pulled. So we'll correct all the paint after the film's pulled, and then ceramic coat it, and then he's thinking about getting full body PPF very soon or down the road. Knowing him, it could be tomorrow, could be a couple months from now. We'll see. The first thing I noticed, because I wash this car somewhat regularly, is that this is super common on factory carbon pieces from any manufacturer, is they do not get finished down well. And what happens is usually from the factory, it'll look like it's finished nice, it's finished down okay. The clear they use is still gassing out, so it's shrinking. And then as it shrinks and sits in the sun on the lot at the dealer, and then the car comes home, some swirls and holograms will kind of pop out and be visible. But I don't know, pretty much any OEM, no matter how nice the car is, even like a Chiron. If you look at any like carbon pieces on like a Pagani or a Chiron, straight out of the showroom, like delivery mile cars, they'll have sanding marks, buffer trails, tool trails. And unless you don't really know what to look for, you won't really realize that it's there. Normally PPF removals are on a spectrum of it's cracked and impossible to remove and like glued to the car, to something that's completely easy, on the easy end, something like this. You have ones in between where like maybe the hood is super hard to get off and the sides on the car are like okay, it's a little brittle. But this film's only a year old, and whatever film they used was decent quality. And one of the signs of like poorer quality film is that you have a glue layer and then you have your film layer, and however good of adhesion those two layers get goes down as the quality of the film goes down. So what happens is you try to pull the film off and the film separates from the glue and you have a nice layer of glue left on the car. And that sucks, that's no fun to take care of. In this specific situation on this car with this film today, its current age, pulling it right off with no heat at all. Paint isn't pulling, glue isn't getting left behind. Didn't know I was going to be doing this today. That's nice. So I figure no more than probably 2 hours to pull this front end. So $250 added to the charge for this one step and a coating for the C8. So $1,500 for this car for the day. I'm kind of worried about pulling that. That looks like an area that I might pull paint. There's texture under it. I'm not sure if that's just contamination that they wrapped over, or if that's like a bad piece of paint that they wrapped over, and if I'm gonna pull that off when I get to this. It's always a little nerve-wracking, but let's see. Let's go really slow. Oh no, it's just a scratch. So that would have been a really nasty scratch in the paint. So there's PPF doing its job again. He's taken this to 3 track days, and he said at least 70 drag strip passes. So 6,000 miles. Film was installed when the car was brand new. I would say for what most people consider Corvette use, supercar use, hypercar use, whatever people want to argue about whatever this car is, this car gets pretty used. I've never actually pulled or seen PPF over a stripe like this before, other than a couple times pulling PPF over Porsche decals, like the factory sticker decals they use. But it's always questionable about like, okay, well, how well is this sticker from the factory stuck to the paint? And it's always a question of, okay, like if I start pulling the PPF that's on top of the sticker to protect the factory stripe from rock chips and stuff, you know, am I gonna pull the sticker and have to pay to bring it back to the dealer, and get OEM stripes added back on. That's always a risk with a job like this. That's just a given. You know, you don't know if it's going to happen. Main ways to be careful is just to really go slow and watch. And if you get just even less than half a millimeter, like a quarter of a millimeter of lift, where you start to see the stripe or the sticker or whatever it is pulling up, then stop and press it back down, and then get tension on the film from a different direction to see if you can release the film from the sticker that's there. And you kind of just play with it until you hopefully get it right without pulling the sticker. I was doing good until the sun got out. Well, now it's just hot. So whenever you're pulling film, or whenever you're just doing any kind of job in general, and you just come across something that you just want to kind of keep yourself covered for. So like right here, this carbon piece, this carbon cover on the mirror is loose. And you know, there's a risk when I'm pulling on it that maybe I'll pull it off, maybe I'll break a clip. Now it's probably loose because there's probably some kind of broken clip or something already. But before you even start pulling the film, or before you start putting your polisher on this, or before you start washing it and you notice that there, just take a quick video, show what you notice, talk on the camera, and then you can always show it back to your client at the end. It's a good way to give yourself some insurance. All right, so you can see where the film ended. They were probably using a kit that didn't have this front piece of the splitter in consideration, and now the front piece of that splitter is super cooked. And even if they film back over it from a few feet away, it'll look shiny, but all of those pits and everything are going to look like bubbles under the PPF, kind of like that almost. So it's kind of unfortunate. I mean, luckily there's film on it, but it really wasn't actually protecting the highest impact part of this splitter right here, which is a little unfortunate, but life goes on. This is probably, oddly, one of the highest impact spots on this car, and kind of shows you the benefit of getting a track pack film install, because just look at all those little speckles all up in the film. That would all be rock chips if this film wasn't here. There, weight reduction, that's a good like 3 pounds, I think. I'm trying to get all the hot water out because my fingers burn from the PPF removal and I just want to run them under like ice water right now. All right, this will be the rant of rants about wheel and tire cleaning, and a lot of stuff that maybe is kind of unconventional you haven't heard about in detailing before. But tires first, we can take a look at this. Now this is somewhat of a maintenance client for me, but I'm pretty sure in between my visits he's applying his own tire shine. And you can see on the tire, look at all this crud that's just built up on the wall of the tire. So that's tire dressing. It gels, it's sticky, dirt sticks to it, it just turns into a sticky, muddy mess. Now, most people, what they're gonna do is they're gonna grab their wheel and tire cleaner and they're gonna come in here, they're gonna grab their stiff nylon brush, and they're just gonna clean the tire off. But all of that crud is really not gonna get cleaned up that easily, and then a lot of it is gonna end up gumming up your brush. So what I prefer to do is to get some adhesive and tar remover. This is Geon Tar. You can use Rapid Remover or CarPro Tar X, Stoner Tar and Sap, any kind of those like citrus solvent tar and adhesive removers. And what we're going to do is we're going to spray this onto the tire, rinse it off right away, and that's going to totally dissolve and eat away that top layer of crud that's sitting on top of the tire. And then we can actually go in with our alkaline cleaner with our stiff brush and actually clean the rubber and clean the tire itself. So if you're noticing that your tire shine is not lasting that long, or if you're noticing that there's just this non-uniform, inconsistent look to the tire, or that you're gumming up your tire brushes, this is something you need to do. So just an even layer of it across the whole tire. We're going to rinse it from bottom to the top instead of top to bottom, because we don't want the water to flush away all of this dwelling cleaner. So a way to test to see if you need to do this is just grab like a scraper or something. We'll just scrape a part of the tire, and if there's a bunch of junk that comes off, then do this kind of treatment. If you're doing a maintenance client or a car that's very well taken care of, you may not need to ever do this. But the first time you're visiting a new client or a car that you're starting to take care of that's going through drive-through car washes, usually there's some gummed up, caked up dressing on there. And you'll quickly realize how much of it you're usually missing during a detail. Now that the surface of the rubber is actually free of that layer of crud, we can actually go in with our Dark Fury or wheel and tire cleaner, degreaser, whatever you're using to clean your tires specifically. And now we can actually clean the rubber out. And this is going to help the longevity of your tire dressing significantly. And you're going to notice that it's going to lay down way nicer than if you just layered it on top of all the junk that's there. A perfectly clean tire is going to sheet water away. It's going to be naturally a little bit hydrophobic. And we have carbon ceramic equipped wheels. We're going to throw alkaline cleaner right on top of it. It's not going to hurt anything. This is a really big kind of misconception in the detail space right now, is with these carbon ceramic equipped cars. People get afraid because of how expensive they are to replace, but you have to understand what they're made of. So these are carbon and silicon, which is the element, the metal silicon, not silicone like they use for dressings and stuff. Carbon and silicon, they put it into a mold, they bake it, and it turns into silicon carbide. Now, silicon carbide is a very, very durable compound. It's extremely inert. It doesn't want to be dissolved by things. It almost is impossible to destroy with chemicals. You have to use a very specific chemical above 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit before you start to degrade it. So any kind of acid or alkaline you can throw on your carbon ceramic brakes and you're never going to hurt anything. Now, if you understand that, you can get away with doing it. But if you're afraid of what people have told you on the internet about carbon ceramic brakes without actually understanding and taking just a quick Google search about what these things are actually made of, you're going to possibly be sitting here just with soap and water trying to clean a wheel that you could have totally gotten away with cleaning with your regular wheel cleaning chemicals and not hurt anything at all. Now, these wheels are ceramic coated. I ceramic coated these a few months ago, and it's a carbon ceramic equipped car, so very low brake dust on a ceramic coated wheel. They're really not that dirty at all, and they're super easy to clean. But like I said, I haven't visited this car in quite a while, so there's a little bit of stuff in here that I think the owner just doesn't take care of normally on his own. It's all coming off super easily though. Looks like the coating's behaving perfectly fine. There's some hot takes about wheel and tire cleaning that maybe you haven't heard anywhere else before. Use some good citrus solvent to clean off your tires before you clean them, to pre-clean them. When you're dealing with carbon ceramics, it doesn't matter what kind of chemical you use. And that's it. All right, so pre-correction wash really does not need to be ultra safe, because we're about to polish the car anyways. So 2 hands, 2 mitts. Let's get through it real quick. I'm gonna run synthetic clay today, a little clay towel, just because I know that this car is really, I maintenance wash it. It's really in decent shape. It's kept inside. Every time I wash it, there's never any outstanding level of contamination on it. And it's just getting a one step. If it was ever anything that was getting more thorough of a correction done, I would just go straight to a heavier clay and just be one and done, So do it right or do it twice. I'd rather just come in with heavier clay, knock it all out, instead of having to sit here for 30 minutes with a clay mitt or a clay towel that's not getting me the contamination removal that I need. So I just do a 50% rinse on the car, so there's still soap on the car. Throw the clay mitt into the wash bucket. That 50% rinse kind of carries away the majority of the suspended contaminants from the contact wash, and that way I can come in and just grab anything else that needs to be taken care of with the clay towel. And I always hit the glass too. pretty much any hard surface on the exterior, I'll run over real quick during the decon. I do not miss mobile detailing in Florida in the summer. It's not even summer yet, and it is crazy out here. Now, real quick, I noticed because I was hitting the tire with my finger during the PPF removal, I got a bunch of adhesive stains all over the paint, little black speckles. So I'm just gonna get a wet towel in the bucket, a couple sprays of adhesive remover, and then just come in and massage off any of these little dark stains in the paint. I left water spots for days up in here. Have fun. So the water spots are just from minerals that are suspended in the water, because I'm not using softened water or filtered water, just using it straight out of the tap here. And water evaporates, leaves a mineral behind. Mineral is pretty volatile, wants to adhere to things, and so it leaves a nice water spot on you. The key here in Florida is to go through and do all the top upward facing panels that are in the sun, to dry them first, because they're gonna be the ones that evaporate off first. I'm not worried about water spots because, let's zip them off with a polisher real quick, especially since they haven't been like baking in the sun for 2 weeks. If some water's coming out during the polishing, I don't care too much. Usually at this point, I just like want to get out of the sun. I'm just trying to get like the majority of the water off the car. See what she needs. It's really the carbon, all the carbon that's in the worst shape.
Yeah, just like swirled up.
Yeah. So all the factory carbon on this car, the roof and the wing, all the vents and everything, have a good chunk of the swirls. If you look at the light, you see a little bit of like a ghost, or like a little hologram that comes shooting off in the light in a beam. That's what we're chasing down, plus a variety, you can see the water spots for sure, a variety of deeper swirls. And then the white paint is white, you know, it's gonna hide a lot of defects. Main goal here, we're gonna two-step correct microfiber 3D1 on the carbon, and then run the entire car 3D1 and an orange foam pad. That's gonna polish off the white paint. That's gonna get rid of any little bit of microfiber haze left behind from our initial cut step on the carbon fiber. And then I think that's gonna get us to a pretty good spot. I think this car is gonna go by really quick because it's not that big. So all of our holograms or rotary trails are gone. Now essentially what I'm doing is kind of like my mid-step process. So normally if I do a rotary cut on a car, I leave my rotary holograms in the paint after the cut. I'm gonna go in with a microfiber pad, DA, medium polish, to just quickly knock down the rotary holograms. That was essentially the same kind of defect that was in this carbon fiber, was rotary trails from the factory. So same process, quick pass with a microfiber and a medium polish 31 in this instance on the DA, knock down the rotary holograms really quick. There's really not too much haze present that's visible in the carbon fiber, but I'm still gonna run an orange pad over with 3D1 as kind of like a quick finish to clean out any haze that might be there, and then use that on the rest of the white paint as well. And we should be at a pretty good spot from there. So now it's just time to cruise. So the camera might not like the lighting, but dark room, isolated lights, so that just the light is catching the imperfection in the paint. Even on white paint like this, you're a little too far away to see, but you can see the imperfections really easily that are in the paint. And you can't correct what you can't see, so lighting is like half of the half of the battle. First thing is lighting when you're correcting paint, and the second thing is knowing what to see. You know, what kind of defects can you see, what can't you see? Because if you can't see them, you can't go polish them. All right, so process I kind of dialed in for this car. Normally Corvettes have soft paint until the C8 came out. Now the C8s kind of have pretty hard paint. It's hard to get defects out. So I'm running CarPro microfiber on the 3-inch. I wish I had CarPro microfiber for my 5-inch because that's my preferred microfiber. The nap is a lot thicker on it, but I have Arupa's medium yellow microfiber over there on the 5-inch. This with 3D1 is getting rid of the holograms. It's giving me a good level of cut. Running speed 4 on the Flex PXE with the 12mm throw attachment. The process I'm going through here is just giving a quick buzz down with the tool on all the carbon, getting rid of that first initial hit of defects, and then I'm just leaving the residue on. I'm not wiping off to check. Now, once I know how much work I need to do, I just do that much work on all the carbon. No need to waste time coming in to inspect and see. This is supposed to be just a one-step correction in a coating. So leave the residue on. After I'm done with this, I'm just gonna go right over it with the finishing step. Once we get to that, the orange foam with 3D1, that broken down abrasive and polish oil will just kind of aid in our finishing ability and save us time by wiping off and inspecting, chasing defects that we shouldn't be chasing on a one-step paint correction. That's where most people start to lose their profitability and get caught up on jobs like this, but a little bit of time, probably like an hour and a half, we'll be done polishing here, and we'll be good to go. Okay, so there's two different kinds of paint technically on this car, considering that there's PPF on it. There's paint that has defects in it, and there's paint that pretty much doesn't have defects in it. So where we don't have defects, pretty much on the whole front end and the nose, I'm gonna use a Lake Country orange foam, just because there's a little bit more flexibility to it. Now why am I polishing before I coat? Just to clean off the paint. When I coat a panel, I just want to ensure that the panel is stripped down bare. No better way to do that than just to polish it. But you can see the speed and the size that we're going to work these sections, because we don't need to do any defect removal. We're going to use 5 drops. I'm essentially going to work this whole fender, the headlight, and this half of the hood, since it's only technically like half or a third of the size of a normal hood, because most of it is an air vent. Stickers on it are on it. 3D1 with a soft, relatively soft, broken in, Lake Country foam isn't going to damage the stickers or do anything to the stickers at all. We're going to essentially do the nose in 1, 2, 3, 4 big sections just to take care of the nose, ideally in about 5 minutes. Like I said, we're not doing defect removal. We're just essentially applying the polish onto the surface just to clean it off really quick, and then we're good to go. All right, so from here, after everything that had PPF has been polished, switch to Lake Country Blue Pad, same 3D1 as the polish. And now I'm just going over everything, all the white paint, everything that was hit with the microfiber, all the carbon pieces. And this is gonna pull out the haze from the microfiber on the carbon and give a kind of a light, 50% enhancement correction on the white paint. It'll be ready for a coating. I'm not really too worried about defect removal because PPF is going to hide everything else that's in this car, and the level of defects that are in the paint are not too bad. Buff off all the residue. Still some scratches in it, but for a quick one-step polish, pretty happy. This is a fun job. I like it when cars just kind of don't really throw any curveballs at you. The PPF was kind of a curveball, but it wasn't a hard removal, so After polishing's all wrapped up, wipe it off with Geon Prep, isopropyl alcohol prep spray, and then Geon Pure. It's kind of like my favorite go-to single layer coating as far as durability, as far as just kind of like ease of use, because you can lay multiple panels at a time. So I can lay like the whole splitter. You don't have to rush or like get anxious applying this. You can kind of just take your time, watch your application, do like a pretty large panel or even multiple panels at a time, and then wipe off. And then even if you miss a high spot or you miss a spot and you come back and catch it like 15 minutes later, you can still come wipe it off, which is kind of the main benefit as far as user experience, why I like it. All right, so kind of full day of work, but we're all done now. We polished it, coated it, kind of head to toe. Looks good. Customer's happy. Flies are gone. That's it. That's how it's done.